Tired of good girls?
Good night, Charlie.
Ready for some real excitement? Looking for someone incredibly seductive?
Do you know how to use your lips, Charlie?
Rescue me, or take me in your arms.
Then this is your lucky night.
Welcome to Fright Night.
Fright Night 2.
I kill vampires.
Enter a world where each embrace takes your breath away.
Come kiss me.
Maybe it's the full moon, Charlie.
And every kiss is a killer. Roddy McDowell, William Ragsdale.
Do you mind if I borrow these?
If you thought one was fun, wait till you do two. Fright Night 2.
Oh, man.
Right, hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire geek, and welcome to Friday Night Appointment with Fear. This week, we're following on from last week's show, which was Fright Night. We're doing Fright Night Part 2 from 1988. That's what we're doing. And Win Grace is here already. He's Fright and Sci-Fi Quest. Admits this is scary-tish. Not particularly. But... Frightening Night Part 2, yes, or as the Blu-ray says, what is it? Noche de Miedo Parte 2. Can't get an English one for love, not well, you can, but you have to pay through the nose for it. But it does have an English audio, which is fine, but no special features, unfortunately. Right, so Friday Night Part 2, not directed or written by Tom Holland this time, who did the first one. This time it was directed and co-written by Tommy Lee Wallace, who you may know from Friday the 13th, not Friday the 13th, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. He directed that. And they directed the 1990 version of It, the TV miniseries. He did that, and he's done other stuff as well. What else? Let's have a look. It had a budget of $8 million, which are about the same as the original, roughly, give or take. I know it came out a few years later, adjust for inflation. I don't know. Had about the same budget. But it did rubbish at the box office, and there's a good reason for that. I'll read this straight from the trivia part of IMDb. Soon after filming was wrapped, Roddy McDowell and Fright Night creator Tom Holland were scheduled to meet with live entertainment chairman Jose Menendez to discuss making a third film. But plans died with Menendez, who was infamously murdered by his sons and his wife as well. His sons murdered his wife as well. As a direct consequence of this horrific tragedy, Part 2 ended up losing its planned countrywide distribution, playing only in one LA and another New York theatre, which directly resulted in its poor box office results, even though it still did about $3 million in box office. So it did well for two theatres, even though its per theatre results were pretty good and being released almost straight to video. Since all of the movie's planned promos and ads were cancelled as well, most people never even learned of the movie's existence until eventually noticing it at their local video store. So there you go. The Menendez brothers. Yes, that Menendez. Yes. Leather and denim, as in Carl Denham from King Kong. This is me traditional Friday night appointment with Fear get-up. But I was a bit cold, so I thought I'll put it on again. Yes, that Menendez, says Win Grace. Yes. So the Menendez brothers knackered up Friday Night Part 2. So there we go. This film stars Roddy McDowell. He's got the lead starring, the first credits, starring Roddy McDowell, who returns from the first one, William Ragsdale, who also returns from the first film, and that's it. Unless you count Brad Fidel, who returned to do the music. Also stars Tracy Lind, Julie Carmen, who else? Oh, God, I can't remember. Brian Thompson, hang on, I've got to look now. Brian Thompson, John Grease, Russell Clark, Merritt Buttrick, who you may know from Star Trek 2, Ernie Sabella, Josh Rickman, and Blair Tefkin, who you may know from V. She's got a small role in this. As soon as I saw her, I thought, oh, it's her from V. It's Robin from V, you know, the one that everyone hated. The character, I should say. Biker Steve. I did have a bike once. I wasn't very good on it. Oh, dear. Right, so let's get on with the film, shall we? As usual, I'll not be just playing it, as I always say. We're watching a series of stills. I may play the occasional snippet. It'll be a slightly different way of doing it now, because I've got this different frame. If I put my... I hide myself down here if I put myself down here, so we'll go with a different way of doing this and see what happens. Right, so get up, you noisy bugger. That was loud, wasn't it? It started playing for no reason. V really enjoyed that show. Yes, yes, it was good. The original miniseries, the final battle were okay, not as good as the original miniseries, and the series. What was it, 13 episode TV series, however long it went on for. Not that good, but you know, it was all right. It passed the time. Right. Now then, what do I press? That one. Right. So we're going to see what happens. So off we go. We begin. Hang on. Let's go back to the beginning again. Go back to the beginning again. Unmute the bugger. Right. Start again. There we go. The Vista Organisation. I don't know why it's doing. Oh, stop playing, will you? Bloody hell. Oh, we get a recap. Anyway, both OG and remake. Yes, the remake wasn't too bad. Was it? Wasn't as good. I think I have a V comic somewhere. We're not talking about V, we're talking about Fright Night Part 2. Stop changing the subject. Anyway, we get a recap of the first film. With there we go, with Jerry Dandridge. And Charlie Brewster. I still keep wanting to call him Billy. You know, Billy from Gremlins. Charlie Brewster, and of course Peter Vincent, vampire killer, and this is how they killed him. And then it cuts to Charlie's voice saying, you know, light came in and he exploded, but it wasn't real. He's in therapy now. 3 years have passed. We can just think I have a Fright Night comic book somewhere. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. Anywho, so he's in therapy. He's at, you know, he's at the trick cyclist. 3 years have passed. I'm not exactly sure where he is now. Remember, the first film took place in Iowa, because we saw an address, didn't we, for Peter Vincent? So we were in Iowa. And I don't know if this is still supposed to be in Iowa or if he's moved to California or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't say. So I'm guessing he's still in the same town, still in Iowa, wherever that was. So his shrink has convinced him that it wasn't real, that Jerry Dandridge was a serial murderer who kidnapped his girlfriend Amy and his best friend Ed Thompson, and Peter Vincent killed Ed. So like brainwashed them and convinced Ed Thompson that he was a vampire. Peter Vincent killed Ed Thompson in self-defense, which is why he's not in prison. Which is not his why he's not in prison. And you know, and he convinced himself, did Charlie, that you know he was a vampire. But now he knows that's not true because vampires don't exist. He says, and there's his shrink. I can't remember the name of him. Does it say his name in the Doctor somebody or other? Hang on, where are we? Dr. Harrison. This is Ernie Sabella, Dr. Harrison. Right. So where were we? So there we go. There's no such thing as vampires. Then we cut to the June Fright Night Part 2. June. Of course, vampires are real. We all know that, don't we? And Josh Temple's here. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, gentlemen, can't stay long at the dentist as I had a tooth break. Crikey, just as I wanted to stop by and say hi. Well, sorry about that. What the hell? So I hope you get a new tooth or your tooth fixed or whatever they do these days. It's very rare I go to the dentist. Really hard to get a dentist round here. I've tried. Even they won't even let me join them if I say I'll pay. I'll give you money. No, dead weird. But anyway, so anyway, sorry about that, Josh. Hope you get that sorted. So see you next time. You can always watch it on the replay. Anywho, Sci-Fi Quest says he enjoyed Moontrap. It's a cool film, a bit crap, but it's cool. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about V either. We're talking about Charlie Brewster, who is now cured of his delusion that Jerry Dandridge was a vampire. So off he goes. And that was a weird thing that happens. He says he's a little scared, and then he says he's scared of running into Peter Vincent, because Peter Vincent still thinks there's vampires, and he will be right. So he's scared of running into Peter Vincent. But then the weird thing happens because he goes to see Peter Vincent for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it were in Roddy McDowell's contract that he had to appear in the script or in the film at a certain point. But he goes there for no real reason that I can ascertain. But anyway, so there we go. Right, so here he is at university or college, whatever you call it over there. He comes running down the lawn. Leaping over lovers. Right, he gets to his dorm room, which it doesn't seem. I don't think he shared. Does he share it with anybody, or is he there in there by himself? I'm not sure. I think he's in there by himself, and he opens up his box of vampire killing stuff and chucks it all in the bin. There you go, or in a skip, dumpster, in a dumpster. Then he starts shaving. And I can't remember the last time I had a wet shave. I can't remember the last time I had a wet shave. All electric when I do. But anyway, we've got to see him cut himself. He cuts himself, as we see. There we go. Cuts himself because he's an idiot. But he puts a plaster on. And then we cut to Peter Vincent, still doing Fright Night 3 years later. Still doing Fright Night. At the same studio, I presume. And we learned that he doesn't bother with the script. The producer's there backstage, and he's gone off script because he's talking about how he knows that vampires are real, and he's, let's say, gazed into the jaws of the beast. And hang on, that yellow beetle, was that the same one from Gremlins? I wonder. I doubt it, but you never know. I don't know. I don't know what colour his beetle was in Gremlins. Did you ever see the colour? It was covered in snow, wasn't it? Anyway, it might have been yellow. I wasn't paying attention. Anywho, there you go. Music by Brad Fidel, who does another great job. There's a producer, slimy producer with a dolly bird on his arm. And he's saying, why aren't he doing the script? And this chap, presumes the director, says he tosses the scripts out now. So anyway, right. So who's this? Oh, this is I forgot to put the name now. Charlie and his girlfriend, Alex. Oh, tell you. It's Charlie and his girlfriend Alex. They're arriving because they're going to go see Peter for some reason. I don't know why. Obviously, Alex doesn't believe in vampires either. She's like a student psychologist, played by Tracy Lind. Super pretty, but anyway, that's by the by. So off they go. They go to commercial, and there we go. There they are, and they're there to meet him, and they go back to his matte painting house. It's not a house; it's a block of flats, we'll call it. But this is a matte painting. I think it's all a matte painting, to be honest. The whole lot, and it's very well done. It was red in Gremlins. There we go. So they're at Peter Vincent's house, apartment, sorry, and looking around. Why has he gone to see him? I don't know. But I'm sorry I didn't return your calls, but I thought he didn't want to see him again because he doesn't confront him or anything. They just have a nice evening where Peter's talking about, their adventure with Jerry Dandridge and all that. And I think they're only there so that Charlie can see something in a minute. As I said, they're talking all about what they got up to. And then Charlie goes and looks out the window, and they see somebody's moving in. This is into Peter Vincent's apartment building, and somebody's moving in some crates, not coffins. We learned later that there are coffins in there, but some crates. And then a limo pulls up, but we don't see who's in it. There we go. But we can just see Brian Thompson there. Well, you may know from, he's been in loads of stuff. Usually plays a bad guy because of the way he looks. But he's actually kind of a nice fella and super clever as well. But he's got a degree in fine art in real life. Anyway, so they're going home now, and he says, I'm sorry for putting you through that. I don't even know why he went to see him. Why didn't he just ignore him? He should have just blanked Peter Vincent, shouldn't he? But I don't know. He had to see the dodgy neighbours arriving at Peter Vincent's apartment building. Right, so they get out of the elevator after having a bit of a snog, and she's got to go and powder her nose. There must be a ladies' room there somewhere. So he's waiting, and then as he's waiting, Regine arrives with her gang in a minute. Here they come, look. Here we are. There's Regine, played by the lovely Julie Carmen. This one's Belle, played by Russell Clark, who is sadly no longer with us. He doesn't have a single line of dialogue in this film, but he makes an impression. He's also a choreographer, and he choreographed the dance routines in this film, and also trained the vampire gang that we see here in how to move fluidly, like that. That's what he did. And over here, this is Louis, played by, I forgot his name, John Grease, who you may recognise from Monster Squad, where he played a werewolf. In this one, he's playing a vampire, but a lot of people call him a werewolf in this, because he always seems to appear in a wolf, like a wolf man form. But he is actually a vampire. Despite what the other actors say, I watched the making of the retrospective documentary, You're So Cool, Brewster. And in that, even he was saying, I'm not exactly sure what he is, but in my opinion, he's a vampire who just prefers to take the wolfman form for some reason. Because Brian Thompson keeps telling him through the film, you're supposed to bite her on the neck because he's trying to woo Alex. And then Brian Thompson is like the what they call him, the familiar, is the guardian of the vampires, is the human, is the Renfield of this film, because he eats bugs and stuff. He's the Billy from the first film. Right, so off they go. They're the ones that are moving in. He has a look, and Regine gives Charlie a good old stare. There we are, and that's it straight away. She kind of looks there's something a little bit off about her. It's in the makeup, innit? She does change forms a lot in this film. Sometimes blatantly, like she'll turn into a bat or whatever. Other times she'll turn into mist. And sometimes there's just little bits of makeup that just make her look different. And sometimes there's some heavy prosthetics as well, which she didn't like. She didn't like having the life mask done. They put it all over the face so they can take a mold of her face. She didn't like that. She panicked, which is quite common apparently. Right, so he's seen them and he thought something's up here, and then Alex comes back and gives him a shock. So they head out. So he drives her home or to her dorm or whatever. Yes, they all look odd. Well, the vampires, Sci-Fi Quest says, they all look odd. They had a gang of vampires after all. By the way, there's supposed to be a backstory. I don't know if it was deleted. Hang on, I've seen it somewhere. Just let me find it. Where have I seen it? Just bear with me. I've got the trivia thing, and I've been highlighting things that I wanted to notice. Here we go. There was a cut scene that originally elaborated on how Belle had turned Regine into a vampire in a way that was very similar to the scene in which Regine acts out later on. She does like a dance routine. but it will cut. So Belle is the one that turned Regine into a vampire, which is interesting. Because she's the sister, spoilers, she's the sister of Jerry Dandridge. She's Regine Dandridge. The older sister, the younger sister, I don't know. I think she's supposed to be 2,000 years old. But in this film, she says Jerry was 1,000 years old when Charlie killed him. So I don't know. Anywho, but Stephen not supposed to know that yet. No, they are. No, they are. We all know. Right, so he drops her off. Well, he pulls up his car. I thought, at first, to be honest, I thought they were just pulling up to have a kiss and a cuddle, but it's actually outside where she lives, her dorm rooms, whatever they call it. I don't know. I don't know what they call them. So they're having the kiss and a canoodle in the car. But as we're watching, somebody's coming, and so they're having a snog. But then, as that happens, there we go. The camera pulls up. Oh, there we go. When it's ready. When it's ready, there we go. They're having a cuddle, and the camera pulls up, and we see the lovely Julie Carmen on the roof of his car, and she's like getting him with vampire beams. It's been mentioned, by the way. I think it was mentioned in the You're So Cool, Bruce, the documentary, that she's a beautiful woman, and they keep emphasizing that she's a woman. And I thought, well, yeah, because Tracy Lind as Alex is, a very pretty girl, but in this, Julie Carmen's, all woman, as you can see. Right, so they're snogging away, but then he starts seeing Alex as Regine. Oh, he's copping a feel there, isn't he? Starts seeing Alex as Regine. There we go. There we go. So, and he freaks out when he sees it's Regine, and then she freaks out as well. Good night, Charlie, and she walks back. So he drives home. So she's going into dorm rooms, sorority. I don't know what they call them. So there she goes, and she's being followed by an unknown person. We know it is. It's Louis following her because he's got the hots for her, but not just yet. He's in there. But as she goes in, another girl comes out. She heading somewhere, so she's getting followed. But Louis doesn't get her. Somebody else gets her. There you go. She gets down to tie a shoelace, and then Belle comes roller skating down the corridor. There we go. In a cool scene. I don't. College hallways always have lots of smoke in them and dry ice and stuff. But anyway. Here he comes, and he gets her. There we go. Bite. Spray of blood. Cool. That's what we want. So vampires, yeah. Get a bit of boob here, so I'm gonna have to be quick. This is another dorm room. There you go, with some attractive young students in their dorm room, and there's Louis watching on in his Wolfman disguise. Oddly enough, he played the Wolfman in Monster Squad, didn't he? And in this is mostly as a wolf, but he's a vampire. He's a vampire who just happens to like that form for some reason. But anyway, so off he's going. He's going crawling, going up the wall, vampire style, to Alex's apartment. How he knows this is hers, I don't know, but he does. And here she is, being super pretty again. She's kind of got glowing skin. It's youth, I suppose. It's youth. But here she's combing her hair. But there he's got his. She's obviously not looking. Look, she's got her eyes closed. Thank God. And this is what we saw in the trailer. She drops the window, cuts off his fingernails. Doesn't she not see those? She's got what the bloody hell are these? She'd see them, wouldn't she? Where have these come from? These huge claw-like talons. What's going on? So anyway, so he falls. There we go. And he lands in the bushes. He's turned back into a human. I think Brian Thompson's there. I think it might be the first time he says you're supposed to bite her on the neck. But then Regine flies past. And then Regine flies past. Yes, there's Belle carrying the young girl that he's just got. Because she's going to see Charlie, is Regine. Charlie's asleep in his dorm room. There's a knock at the door. He wakes up. He opens the door to see... hang on. Oh, shut the bloody door on her. There we go. He opens the door to see Regine there, and he slams it straight away. You know, panic. So there you go. There's a rational explanation for this. Anyway, he opens the door. She's walking off because she was knocking on the door saying, Charlie. So anyway, she's walking away, and he says, sorry. He says, you're not Charlie. He says, I'm Charlie Brewster. She went, no, I'm looking for Charlie Cassidy. I'm in the wrong dorm. I'm sorry. And then she asked him for a, do you have a light? So he says, yes. So he, like an idiot, he invites her in. There you go. Do you have a light? She stands at the doorway. He says, come in. Learn nothing, has he? He's learned nothing. Anywho, so there we go. Gives her a light. And have a bit of a... you're going to make her a coffee, instant coffee, which, you know, a very British thing. That's mostly what we drink in Britain, instant coffee, in my experience anyway. But Sci-Fi Quest grows his own coffee because he makes his own bread. Anyway, she basically seduces him here and gives him a good old kiss. There you go, in the canoe. There you go. So seducing him, and she pulls the plaster back. Remember, he put a plaster on his neck where he cut himself. She pulls that back, and hang on, and gets him. Hang on, go back again. There you go. Gets him with her teeth, and then she don't bite him, but she just like runs her tooth like that into his cut, gets a bit of blood on the tooth, and then licks it off seductively. But basically, she's kind of infected him now. But she does again later. I think she properly infects him later with the vampire curse. No, I buy Nescafe. Crikey. Must be rich. Must have won the lottery. Must Sci-Fi Quest. Because Nescafe is not cheap. I get the cheap muck. Not the cheapest. Not the, like, you know, white label muck. I get the next up. And then he wakes up, thinks it's all a dream. There's a knock at his door, and opens it with trepidation, gets a crucifix out. He's managed to hold on to a crucifix. He didn't throw that in the bin. And it's Alex, and they apologise to each other for earlier, and to have a canoodle. Again, pardon me. See, they're all in the limo. This is where we see I forgot his name now. Bosworth is named after. Is Brian Thompson's character. It's called Bosworth, and apparently originally they wanted Brian Bosworth. Was he a football player or something turned actor? I don't know. They wanted him to play this character, but they didn't get him for whatever reason. So they named the character Bosworth, and he eats bugs, you know, like Renfield did. He eats bugs, but it was Brian Thompson's idea. For every time he eats a bug, he says the Latin name for it. So that's what that is there. So there, that's that. Right. So anyway, so she gets into bed with Charlie, fully clothed, and then we see the wound on his neck, and she leaves him a note. There we go. Charlie Brewster, I like you very much. No, she's not saying she loves him. 3 kisses. P.S. I think your cut is infected. P.P.S. I'll probably get a D. She was supposed to be boning up, so to speak, for a test or whatever. Right. So anyway, so it's next morning. He opens these curtains and the sunlight comes in. It's too bright. Bit like in Gremlins. It's turning into a mogwai, not a vampire. So he goes back to his shrink with his sunglasses on because he thinks he's the critical drinker. Anyway, so he's telling him about, you know, he had this dream and it was so real, you know, it was like you were really there. And then he's saying, you know, It's just a fantasy that your brain has concocted from this woman who you're obviously attracted to, that you saw for the first time that night, in Peter Vincent's apartment block. Don't worry about it. And he offers in some drugs. He says, no, just take up a sport, just something to occupy your mind. Take up bowling. So he goes bowling. There we go. So he goes bowling. Alex is going through. They've got a bowling alley at the university and everything. I didn't go to university, so I don't know what's available at British universities, but I'm pretty sure they probably don't have bowling alleys. So here he is bowling and having fun. And it is fun. It's 10-pin bowling. Me and Aidan sometimes like to go 10-pin bowling. I think he really likes to go because he likes their chicken nuggets at where we go. He gets chicken nugget. Anyway. But it's all fun, isn't it? So, so he's saying, by the way, he feels weird, but he feels a bit sleepy and all that. And she's got tickets to go see some classical concert by Mahler. Well, the concert's music by Mahler. Obviously, he's dead, but you know what I mean. A classical concert. So she wants him to go with her. So says, "Okay, I'll pick you up at 8." So he goes back to his dorm room, falls asleep, and then Merritt Buttrick arrives. Is that how you pronounce it? Or is it Buttrick? You may know remember who played David. Oh God, I'm blanking on his surname. Oh, for God's sake, Wingrace. What's his name? David. What's his face from Star Trek 2? Anyway, he played him. David Marcus. That's it. Thank you. David Marcus. Wingrace is useful to have around. He's the oracle of that old Yorkshire geek. David Marcus, yes. Merritt Buttrick. And apparently when he was cast for this role, he'd been diagnosed with AIDS. And at that time, it was pretty much a death sentence. And he did actually die the following year, which is, sad. But they're to be very careful that he didn't cut himself, and stuff like that on the set. But it's probably one of his last roles. I don't know, but he did die in 1989. This came out in 88. So anyway, so he's playing. I've forgotten. Richie. That's it. Richie Green. He's playing Richie. Hang on. And the drug addict from the bonding symbiosis. I mean, did he? I don't know. What in TNG? Or that TNG episode? I can't actually remember. One of his first roles, according to IMDb, was he played a grapist in Hill Street Blues. Anyway, here he's playing Charlie's friend, Richie. He's come to borrow a tie because he's got a hot date or he's going to a party or something like that. But by the way, he's told Charlie that it's 7:45. He's been asleep for 6 hours as Charlie, so he's quickly got to get ready. He's to go and pick up Alex, who's waiting on the steps. So he hasn't picked her up. She's made her way to the concert hall or whatever. She's waiting for him there. Obviously, he's late. But he's gone to the presumably dorm, sorority, whatever they call them. And she's not there. But he does see Regine. If it's going to, it's not going to bloody pause on it, is it? There we go. He sees Regine. There she is. And Richie's with her. So Richie gets in the limo with Regine and her gang because he's going to a party. Season 1 TNG. Yes, where the one planet had the other. Oh, that one. Yes, I know. Yes, I know that one now. Yes. And yay, Castellar Daniel Garcia's arrived. He actually commented in the chat on this a few days ago, but for some reason, YouTube deletes them, doesn't it? But anyway, but love to see the bad guys playing bowling scene. Yes, we're coming up to that in a bit. And he looks at his watch, so he knows he's standing up, Alex, now, because he looks at his watch, and we see that it's, I don't know, 8:10 or whatever. So he knows is standing there up, but then he kind of comes to his senses later. For some, I don't know. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. Is Charlie. Anyway, he follows the limo. There she is waiting. She's waiting. He's not turning up, and he follows the limo back to Peter Vincent's, where Peter Vincent lives, and he's watching them. And they go up. He sees them in the window in a minute. If they're going to show us, and there we go. You can see Regine and Richie and Belle in the window. They don't care. They're just in the window. So he's spying on them. There we go. Then he climbs up on a statue, which gives him a better view somehow. It's like, not much difference, but it gives him a better view. Meanwhile, back at the concert hall, it's sort of like, last time to get in. And she's waiting, is Alex. But then Louis arrives, all in a suit and tie. And he says, do you have an extra ticket? I'll pay you. And she says, it's your lucky day. So Louis gets to go in and sit next to Alex and watch the concert. But there we go. Because he's kind of smitten, to be honest. And who can blame him? She's very pretty. Anyway, Charlie's going for a better viewpoint. He's climbing up some stairs and he's watching. And here we can see has Medic Butrick got women's legs? That's a weird optical illusion or something. I don't know. Anyway, he's watching, and there we go. They're seducing him. They put a blindfold on him, and then we see that they're biting him. Here we are. This is not a dream, and I think we've got the Brad. I keep calling Brad Dourif. Brad Fidel, music. Din din din. I think that's kicking off now. One of my favourite themes of any film is the "Come to Me" theme from Fright Night and Fright Night Part 2. So he runs to Peter Vincent's apartment. He says, it's happening again. There's vampires, etc. Regine, I don't know her name, but they've moved into your apartment block. So he's obviously terrified again. So he says, we've got to go up and do something about it. And so reluctantly, Peter Vincent goes with him. Takes like a mallet and a stake. And Peter Vincent's got his holy water and all that stuff. And so they knock at the door, and a vampire welcomes them. He holds up the thing, and he says, chill out, dude. And it turns out it's just a party. It's a party that's going on. It was like a vampire theme. And so they all think, oh, fair enough. But Charlie's not convinced. But Peter's saying, no, calm down. It's just a party. Anyway, they find Richie, who was a bit out of it. And he says he's been boozing or whatever, so he wants a drink of water. So Peter Vincent goes for a drink of water, for a Perrier, and Charlie starts looking. He starts looking on Richie's neck for a bite mark, and it gives him some funny looks. There's there, yep, it's the wrong thing to do, Brewster. But he don't find any bite marks, any puncture marks. He don't find them, and Richie just walks off and grabs the bottle of Perrier off Peter Vincent, and so he's saying, "I'm sorry, it's a false alarm. It's a false alarm." But then Regine makes her appearance. Din din din. Here she is, and she starts dancing with Charlie, and they have a little effect here, which I don't think looks very good, to be honest. But they said it was quite difficult for them to do it. It just looks like it's not even a morph. It's just like a dissolve. We'll see anyway. As they're dancing, she makes a crucifix. He's still got his crucifix. He must have it up his sleeve or something. I don't know, or in his pocket. But she gets it out as they're dancing. There we go. And it starts swinging backwards and forwards. Here we go. And as it, there we go. And as it's not very well composited, is it? But as it swings towards her face, it makes her turn into like slightly vampire face, like that. It's in the documentary, they were like saying, oh, really hard to do. And I thought, it's just to dissolve, isn't it, into Julie Carmen with a slightly, with a bit of prosthetics on. But, it's not exactly a morph, is it? But, whatever. It was 1988. So there we go. And so she's dancing with them again. Her teeth are out and her eyes come out, and I must have been. Oh, she throws the crucifix, by the way, and it smashes that mirror. There we go. That might be my favourite shot of the film. I don't know why. It just really does it for me. I don't know. Proper vampire, isn't it? But there we are. So she's doing that in front of everybody. She's actually showing that she's a vampire in front of everybody. And Peter Vince is like, what the? But then it ends, the music stops, and everybody goes, yay! And then she goes like, she makes out she's taking contact lenses out and Fulton teeth, and she hands them to Belle. Obviously, she's not, she's just pretending to. Is it going to show it here? And she does a bow, and then she's going to pretend to take out. There you go. Pretend to take out her contact lenses, which obviously she's not really wearing because she's a vampire, people. Don't forget. But then we learn that she's a performance artist, and she must be famous because this young woman here asked for her autograph. And she says she's in town for a few days, and she's not doing any work or anything, but she might do some personal stuff. But we do learn that she does get some work while she's here. But anyway, they seem satisfied that there you go. She's a performance artist now. There's a logical explanation. So Charlie goes home. They're all happy that. Oh no, Charlie says Alex has realised he's late, so he goes charging off to the music hall, whatever. Peter Parker style, because he were always late for what's the face's shows, wasn't it? Mary Jane shows. Anyway, so off he goes and leaves Peter Vincent at the party. There you go. He's having a look round and just enjoying himself. There he sees a couple. It looks like there's a vampire biting somebody, but I don't think it is. I think they're just, having fun. But he gets out. Remember, he's got his little cigarette case with the mirror in because he sees Belle and Regine dancing. And hang on, let's go back again. There we go. We see Belle and Regine dancing there. You see, there they are. Look there. Never mind them over there. Them there. They're dancing. Oh, look, he's got a jacket just like me, that fella. Look. They're dancing away, and he decides to get his cigarette case out. Maybe he's just thinking, I'll just check, just to be on the safe side. And as he looks, he sees there casting no reflexion in the mirror. So that surprises him. So he thinks, right, I'm going. So he runs, heading back to his apartment, but Regine's onto him, and she cuts him off at the pass or the bottom of the stairs. There we go. And she basically gets his crucifix out, and she says, it's another, you've got to have faith for that to work on me. But she doesn't say that. She says, I do miss the old trappings sometimes. It's obviously not working on her. Oh, you have to get closer than that. Over the centuries, one develops a bit of a tolerance for some of the trappings. That's what she says. So it's obviously not working on her. Anyway, basically, she's monologuing now. She's basically telling him that she's not going to be as cruel to him as she is to Charlie, because Charlie, he's her target because of what happened to Jerry Dandridge. This is where Jerry Dandridge, 1,000 years old, and he spilled his blood. But there you go. He was my brother. Older or younger, I don't know. I'm sure it said on the documentary that she's 2,000 years old. I don't know how that works. But it actually her brother. It can't be if there's like 1,000-year difference in age. I don't know. So, she doesn't kill him right now, but she said, you'll pay. She just turns into mist, and then like in her cloak, and it goes down into the down into the stairwell, and then she flies back up as a bat. A stop motion bat. So he goes back to his apartment and gets all his stuff. Tries phoning Charlie. Charlie's obviously not there. To be that young again. What, 1,000 years old? I'm nearly that. Anyway, it's phoning Charlie, but Charlie's obviously not in. He's at the concert hall. It's obviously too late. But he knew this earlier on. He was supposed to pick her up at 8, and he looked at his watch. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. It's Peter Vincent reminding himself, wait till daylight. There's the moon. I don't know why do they keep showing the moon like that? Because the moon from North America doesn't look like that, does it? The moon from Australia might look like that because that's the Mare Crisium, which it's actually inverted as well. It's mirrored or whatever. I don't know. The moon's the wrong. It should be the other way up. That's what a moon would look like from Australia, from southern latitudes. Just thought I'd say that because that's the Tycho crater there. That's the Mare Crisium, and we see them the other way around. Don't know how to do that. Right, what's happening here? I don't know. Oh, yes. Louis walking Alex back to her room, and there's a dog growling at him. This is a bit. I think we saw this in the trailer. Dog growling at him, so he does this. Scares the dog. Right, so he's walked her home, and she says good night. And she actually gives him a kiss, a peck on the cheek, and doesn't invite him in. And then he walks off, and then he's supposed to bite her on the neck. And he says, I'm not thirsty. So he's obviously a bit smitten with the. So off they go. Charlie's in the shower. Look, he's got 2 plasters on now. Look. What's getting worse is his shaving nick. Right, so anyway, he's asleep. And I keep leaving the windows open for some reason in this. Peter Vincent were phoning Charlie up, and they were next to a window with the curtains blowing. I thought, close your windows if you think there's a vampire. I'd be closing and locking everything. I'd be stuffing up all the vents as well, knowing that they can turn into a mist. But never mind. Regine comes as a mist. Here she comes. Look, there we go. She's coming as a mist. Nice little bits of vampire lore in this, by the way. I said, turn into a mist and the garlic and all that. And something I didn't know. I've actually read Dracula, but it was a long time ago, and I'd obviously forgotten. But vampires don't like wild roses. So there you go. Right, so here she is. She's turned into a mist, and she forms now in a nice effect. By the way, the effects were done by Fantasy 2 Film Effects, the Gene Warren company. Done by them. So here goes nice. Kind of reminds me of Ray Harryhausen. This, in like Jason of the Argonauts, where what they call that? Honor Blackman appears as the goddess. She does that. Just appears as smoke. That kind of reminds me of that. Because I'm a nerd. Anyway, she's here. She's going to drink some more of Charlie's blood. Here we go. There you go. She's feeding on him now. Now he's going to start proper turning into a vampire. Peter's sitting in a ring of garlic, still trying to phone Charlie. Here's Alex. He produces, he gives her some roses. Obviously, they're not affecting him yet because he ain't a full vampire. But he's give her some roses with a note, please forgive me. So they're making up. So what's happening next? Peter Vincent's gone to work, and we learn that he's fired again. Remember, he got fired in the first film. Now he's getting fired again. The producers firing him because they've replaced him with Regine. Is he going to show her? Yes, it did there. Sorry. Showed them bring there it is. What they call them, a standee or whatever they call them, of Regine. So she's taking his job. Right, so Charlie's still apologising to Alex and saying, he thinks he might have been scared to go to a classical concert because he's a kid and all that, and it's a fear of culture and all that. But then they start talking about vampires and stuff again, or they start talking about old films. That's it. And he gets cross with her. You don't know what you're talking about because she's like dismissive. Pardon me. And then he mentions the book Dracula. There you go. Have you ever read Dracula? She does. She reads it later, and we learn that she's some kind of, I don't know, some kind of savant that she can read a book. She does this down a page, and she can just absorb a page like that. She reads the book really quickly. Doesn't explain it. Maybe there's people that can do that. I don't know. I'm not one of them. Right. So what they're doing now, I can't remember what they're going to do. Oh my, Peter Vincent arrives. That's it. You're right. It's happening again, but he dismisses him this time, and Peter Vincent says, "Well, I warned you," and goes off. Egoist tells him there's no vampires, and goes, "I warned you," and scurries off. And he's packing and leaving. Look, he's going. Right, so he drives off. Meanwhile, back at what does it say there? University. Oh, what does it say there? Something Union. Don't know. Can't read it. Anywho, he's getting thirsty for blood, it seems, because he sees this young lady with her neck out, and he's, oh, crikey, he's hungry now. So he goes to the cafeteria. This is where we meet Blair Tefkin. Remember her? Robin from V, the one that everybody hated. Her that had the 2 alien babies. She had a green one, didn't she? No, she had a normal one at first that had a forked tongue that grew up to be a lovely young woman for some reason in the series. And then she had a green alien baby, didn't she? Which everybody remembers. Anyway, in this, she's making pizzas. There we go. She's making pizzas. So that's it. She went from a starring role in V. She was probably one of the most famous faces on TV for a while, wasn't she? And now she's making pizzas in a film that didn't get much of a release. But so he starts eating this pizza, and then she says, "It's got my secret ingredient, a whole blob of garlic." So he spits that out and runs off. Not very hygienic, smoking a cigarette while she's serving food. It's the 80s. So he runs to his psychiatrist, and he's told the doctor's not in. So and this is where he sees a TV, and he learns that Richie's been found dead. There he is. And he was 22. So he goes, so he obviously now thinks that something's happening to him. So he goes to Peter Vincent's, but he's not there. So he puts a note under his door saying, "I believe you, Peter." I remember, by the way, Peter Vincent's named after Peter Cushing and Vincent Price. Just thought I'd remind you of that. Right, there you go. Peter, I believe you, Charlie. Spelled the girl's way. Just thought I'd remind you of that again. Right, what does he do now? Right, he sees Bosworth, so he decides to follow him. So he follows Bosworth down into the basement. There he goes. And this is where he finds the coffins of the vampires. They're keeping them down in the basement. Why don't they just keep them in their apartment, just under lock and key, away from anybody that might see him that don't want to see him. I mean, the basement, anybody could go in, maintenance worker or whatever, but never mind. There they are in the basement. There's the coffins. Meanwhile, Alex is at the library and she's going to find Dracula. What books we got here? I'm just interested now. Hang on. Didn't pause him without blurring. Anyway, the Book of Vampires. I can't bloody read it. But there's Dracula over there, look. The Dracula Book of Great Horror Stories as well. What's that one? Altshaw Digest, Volume 13. Very good. Encyclopedia Americana. Didn't know there was one of them. I know there's Encyclopedia Britannica. Didn't know there was Encyclopedia Americana as well. And many, many more. Anyway, so she's getting that. She's borrowing that and having a read of that. Meanwhile, he looks in one of the coffins, and there's Belle asleep. Belle, obviously, it's played by a man, Russell Clark, who passed away in 2002. Did I mention that? But I don't know what of. But he was in his 50s. But it's called Belle, spelled, like a girl, Belle. And it's often described as androgynous, but I don't know. Seems like a bloke to me. But anyway, but it never says anything, so I don't know. Anywho, there he is asleep. So he goes and gets Charlie goes and breaks a chair leg, and Bosworth comes back, so he hides. He's hiding behind this table. Bosworth doesn't see him, so he's hiding like they hide in Assassin's Creed Mirage sci-fi quest. Where it's obviously you can see him, but Bosworth can't see him because he's crouching, so he's hidden. Anyway. And he thinks he's reaching for him, but he's not because he's found a bug, and it's a beetle. And I think this is the scene. I'm going to show it here. I think he might actually put a live beetle in his mouth, and in the documentary they say, it made him retch at the time. He'd probably just to put it in and then hold it in his mouth, and they'd say cut and he'd spit it out, I suppose. I don't think he actually ate it. But there we go. Ceramopsis angus. He says it, Angusticolus or something. There we go. He pops it in his mouth. We actually saw it, wriggling about. So he did actually put a live beetle in his mouth. And there we go. And then they were cut, and he probably spat it out and retched, which I think I probably would have done. This is before, by the way, Michelle Pfeiffer put a live bird in her mouth for Batman Returns. What was it? 4 years later. So. Stop moaning, Brian. It were only a beetle. Anyway, so he goes he finds Regine's coffin, and he goes through this hole in the wall. I don't know how they got the coffin through that hole, by the way. There's a little hole and a massive coffin in it. Never mind. And we see that he's at the bottom of the elevator shaft. Is Regine's coffin. It's a huge coffin, look. And he opens it up. And there she is, asleep, and he's about to stake her. Is it going to show it? There you go. He's about to stake her. But she opens her eyes and hypnotizes him with red eyes. Look. Like that. I don't know if it does that sound effect. I don't think it does. But he gets the red eyes as well because he's hypnotized. Look. And he stops. He doesn't stake her. He closes up the coffin. And just walks out, is kind of in a daze, and nearly gets run over. There we go. Walks out into the road and nearly gets run over. And he doesn't remember what happened, but he does remember because he'd arranged to go and meet Alex at the library at 9 p.m. But he does remember that. Alex, by the way, is that's it. That's her reading Dracula. Look like that. Wish I could read like that. It's like scanning the page. This is, I think, is this the scene we saw in the trailer where Louis arrives? Is it going to show it? Is it going to show it? Here it comes. Here comes Louis's wolf hand. In a minute, for God's sake. Oh, for crying out loud. It did anyway. You saw it in the trailer. Come on, show us. Show us. Show us. There we go. There we go. And she looks round, and obviously he's just there. He's just there. And he's obviously stalking her. If I were her, I'd be thinking, this is getting a bit creepy now. He's stalking me. But she says, I'm meeting me, but my boyfriend's coming. And says, well, what I'll do, I'll come back at 9, and if he stood you up again, I'll buy you a coffee. Is that all right? And she's like, oh, no, he's coming. But off he goes. Being kind of creepy. But he shows his true colours soon. So she gets back to her reading. He meets them, and he said, no, he's having a date with her. But then they see Charlie arrive, and Louis says, oh, I've got to go take him out so I can take her out. If you know what I mean, on a date. But Bosworth reminds him, no, he's for Regine. You've got to find somebody else. So they go bowling. They decide to go bowling. So there we go. They get that chap, and they get Blair Tefkin, and they're having fun bowling now. This is the bowling montage where they're all having fun bowling, and this is where, in a minute, hang on, what's happening here? Oh, it's Charlie arriving at the library. There we go. And she says it's a great book. Doesn't explain. She just says, he says, you've read that in this short amount of time. And it doesn't explain how she can do it. She just can, because she's Supergirl. It's woke, is this film? It's woke. Anyway, so they're all the friends again now. So Peter Vincent's gone to a bar. He's having a beer because he's fed up. Fright Night comes on the TV in a minute. But in the meantime, there you go. Is Belle's feeding on Blair Tefkin. Yeah. And Louis getting a nice drink from I presume he's the manager of the we see he's like squeezing, you can hear this. So he's getting a nice drink. And this is the scene I think that Castellar Daniel Garcia's likes, where he's waiting for a ball coming out of the ball machine, but it's the fella's head in a minute when it comes out. Oh, for God's sake. Here it comes. There we go. The fella's head. And he goes, I don't know why he's surprised, to be honest. You'd think he'd be used to stuff like this, wouldn't you? But he like goes, and drops the head. And nice and gory. So then they have a little bit of a fight. And, obviously they're not going to kill each other. They're just, it's joshing, I suppose. But then Fright Night comes on. They start watching the TV. And Peter Vincent sees it's on the TV in the bar. And see Fright Night's happening. Meanwhile, Charlie's got the roses. Look, they're having sandwiches, and there's some concert or something on Channel 28 that is. Remember the days of regular TV, not all this digital nonsense that we've got these days. So he's got a little portable TV there, a miniature TV, and he's gonna. There you go, Johann Sebastian Strauss. There's some concert on Channel 28. But in the meantime, it just happens upon the Fright Night channel. There we go. So Fright Night's on with Regine. And I think he says, where's Peter? But we learn that Peter's not there and Regine's there. Peter's watching. Then she does a dance routine. And I think it's supposed to show how she were turned by Belle. That's what it said in the scene that were cut or something like that, where he explains it. But she's doing the dance, and she turns into a vampire sort of thing. See her nails grow, and her face goes all weird and angular for some reason. There we go. I don't understand that. She just looks weird, doesn't she? She doesn't look like scary, like a vampire. She just looks weird. It's like a bit like a doll or something like that. I don't get this bit. But then she splashes blood on herself. I don't really get it, to be honest. It's confuses me. Maybe it's just to get that pattern on the face in blood. I don't know, but I don't know. But then she turns back to normal, and she gets her teeth and her eyes, and it's all very erotic in a blood way. But then Charlie starts feeling all weird and woozy. So she goes to get him some water. She says, I'll get you some water. And instead of getting a glass from somewhere, maybe taking that and chucking that out, she uses the one that got the roses in. Not very hygienic, is it? She takes the roses out, puts them on the table. But she doesn't notice Louis sitting there as she goes to the water fountain. But then Louis goes up to her in a minute. I think they've cut into commercial now at the studio because they all cheer when she's done. So I presume they've gone to commercial by that. But Peter's arrived. He arrives at the studio. But Louis confronts Alex now, and he grabs hold of her. You don't want to go see your boyfriend. He says, you're hurting me. And so it's where he shows his true colours. So Charlie arrives, and then he turns into his wolfy vampire thing and chases them round the library. And then just happens to chase them back to their table where the roses are. There we go. She picks them up and she shoves them in his mouth because she remembered from Dracula that vampires don't like roses, and he turns into a not great prosthetic head, or not a puppet head. It's fine, but then he has all flames coming out of his mouth. There we go. Doesn't kill him, but it makes him run away. Jumps out the window. That's it. And then she realizes now that it's all true. Vampires are real, and he says if you'd never read that book, she'd never have known. But I don't think there were wild roses, were there? Details. Anyway. So he's arrived as Peter, and they're all saying, Peter, you're not supposed to be here. And he goes running in with a bloody mallet and a stake. He's going to try and get her, so they drag him off. They should have kept that in the show, shouldn't they? Because it could have been like, he's really a vampire killer, whatever. But they drag him out. So he's basically under arrest now. But so are they for some reason. And I don't know why. We see the police. Oh, let's go back. There we go. The police have arrived. I don't know why the police have arrived. Maybe there's been a disturbance or something with them running around the library, knocking books over. Oh, a fella jumped out the window, didn't he? So that's another reason probably why they're there. But they arrest them because they're the only ones there. Peter Vincent's there at the police station, and he's saying, she's a vampire, so they send him to a mental hospital. There we go, state hospital. So that's where they're going to send him. Meanwhile, Alex and Charlie are in separate cells, obviously. But Charlie gets bailed out by Regine. So she's taking she's taking Charlie. But Alex gets bailed out by her psychiatrist. Charlie's psychiatrist. I think he's her teacher at the university. So she goes, she says, I want to bail out Charlie Brewster. Looking very lovely with the lovely hair. But anyway, I want to bail him out. Says, he's already been bailed out. Says, well, we need to see Peter Vincent. He says, well, it's too late. He's been sent to the loony bin. Am I allowed to say that? Well, I just did. So here we are at the state hospital with the unfortunate inhabitants. And here is, this is, I forgot his name. It's like Frizzy or something. Fritzy, that's it. Played by Josh Richmond. Fritzy. Oh, seems to me he's doing like an impression of Bobcat Goldthwait. It looks like it to me. But he's a goodie. He helps Peter later. So they're going to stick him in a cell. Meanwhile, Doctor, I forgot his name already, Harrison, is driving Alex home, and they stop at what they call it, a railroad crossing. The lights, ding, 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 giving it all that for ages. It's going for ages. She says, I don't think there's a train, and but then we see that he's actually a vampire. There you go. Hang on. There you go. He's a vampire. Somehow, has he been a vampire all along? Or has Regine changed him recently? I don't know. It doesn't say, but he's a vampire. He's obviously working with Regine now, or doing her bidding. I don't know when he changed. But she runs away. But as vampires do, they like Droopy, that dog Droopy. Just teleports. But he gets her on the ground and she whacks him with a stone, and she runs onto the railway tracks and rips up a piece of the railroad sleeper, because she's super. Not only can she read books with the back of her hand, she can rip up railroad sleeper wood bits, just like that. Look, she whacks him with it, and then she sticks it in his chest. There we go. And then he says, you've not quite got it. It's like a bit of a stupid scene, this, to be honest. I don't really understand this. Does he want to die? I don't know. Why didn't he just pull it out or get her to pull it out? Obviously, she wouldn't, but He says, that really hurts. And says, you've not quite got it. He says, would you mind pushing a bit harder? And she's like, no, she runs off in a minute. And then he says, I'll take care of this myself. And he drops down and puts the stake and goes all the way through him in a minute. There we go. And then he says, I think that got it. And then he dies. So she goes running off, leaving his body there. Probably get run over by a train at some point. She goes to, I don't know where she goes. I can't remember. We'll see in a minute. Oh, yes, she goes to the state hospital. That's where she goes. This is Regine taking. That's Regine taking Charlie back to her lair. Have I remembered everything? I've remembered everything. Just check me highlighted trivia. Yes, I think I've mentioned everything. Oh no, I haven't mentioned this. Remember, there's no Amy in this. In a cutscene, Charlie explains to Alex, I presume it's to Alex, about Amy's whereabouts, and it says here she started dating a lot of older men. They all vaguely resemble Jerry Dandridge. One of them owned a bank. She married him and moved to Houston. And there we go. That's what happened with Amy. I think I've got everything else. Had a 45-day shoot. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yes, I've all my other highlighted bits I've mentioned. Right, so I'll do that. That's out of the way. Right, back at the state hospital. Alex has arrived, and she's on the intercom saying, "I need to get in to see Peter Vincent. I am his doctor." She's got lots of ID cards and stuff. She's taken the ID card of Dr. Harrison as well. She's using that. There we go. It's Mr. Vincent's doctor. This is Fritzy saying he needs to get out of here so he can kill vampires. But meanwhile, Nurse Ratchet, or whatever she's called, I don't know, comes out and says, "Where's the doctor?" And Alex says, "I'm the doctor." Says, "Yes, of course you are, dear." But then she goes into this spiel about, I'm not having a great day. I've already talked to Jumper down from City Hall and done all this other stuff. Do you want to see my ID? I've got this card for Clinical Psychologists of America, blah, 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 blah. So it says, let me see my patient. They go, I've got a patient who's in the wrong hospital and I haven't got time for your nonsense, etc. So she gets in to see Peter. So, I'm stand easy. I'm here to rescue you. That's what she says. Meanwhile, Fritz is mopping up here, and he finds. Here we go. He finds Dr. Harrison's. She must have dropped it. Alex, but find his card. No patience for this patient. Yes, he's not known for his patience. Well, he's probably not Dr. Kildare then, if you know who Dr. Kildare is. Anywho, Nurse Ratchet appears and takes it off him and says, "Ah, ha ha! Just as I suspected." So she's going to make a phone call, and but he whacks her over the head with a bucket. There we go, knocks her out, and then pulls the fire alarm, sets the fire alarm off. So everybody's like panicking, and during the panic, Alex can get Peter out. There we go. Okay, Mr. Vincent, you can go kill your vampire now. He says it in kind of a Bobcat Goldthwait way-ish. Not quite as extreme. But anyway, so they're going to save star of the film, Charlie. That's the fella. They're going to save Charlie, but they've got to stop along the way and get some holy water. So they're heading to this church. I don't know where it is. I don't know. I put a link in the description. There's a Grim Life Collective filming locations for Fright Night 2, and they'll say where all the filming locations are. It'll be in Hollywood somewhere. I've watched it, but I've forgotten because I'm an idiot. Anyway, so there we go. When is it showing? Back again. They've got buckets of holy water. Can you get buckets of holy water from a church font? They've got it, or a bucket. They've also got this whatever it is. I don't know. I'm not religious. Some religious trapping, maybe from the I don't what they call it. The where the stuff is in the church. I don't know. But it's obviously been blessed. So it's holy. It's hallowed. Just like the Ori. But anyway. Right, so here we see the bathing Charlie is Belle and Regine. And then he says, soon you'll be one of us and you'll be immortal and I can torture you forever. That's her plan. Basically be a vampire slave for all eternity. Anyway, so they arrive. They get some stuff from Peter Vincent's apartment. He's got some like what they call it? Like a harpoon gun. Yes. He's got one of those. Josh Temple, you're missing out. But I've got a spray thing. So they put the holy water in a spray thing doofer. And he's saying all the films that this equipment's from. And here he's sharpening up little stakes for the harpoon gun. There they go. So off they go, tooled up. It's got the rope as well because they've got to shimmy across a ledge. There we go. In a cool cowboy shoes, boots, whatever they are. So here they are, shimmying across this ledge. Luckily, Regine's left a window open so they can get in. They've looked through that window. They've seen Charlie's in there, all dazed. But they're getting through this window in a minute. They're looking there. There we go. They see Charlie. Regine leaves him unattended. They're getting through the open window. But in the meantime, Richie's arrived. He says, Richie, you're dead. And he says, yes, I've got off the slab of the morgue just to be here. But he's a vampire, isn't he? He's a vampire. And he says, do you want some tea? And he says, so he goes for some tea. And he says, I think I'll lose the craving for food and drink eventually, and I'll probably miss it. But in the meantime, he's off for some tea. Off he goes. So they climb in the window and greet Charlie. But then he comes back in with his tea because he was super quick with it. It must have been ready. So he sprays him with the holy water. There we go. And he turns into there we go, into a fake head. And all water comes out. I don't know. It said in the documentary that, we have water coming out rather than blood. I don't know what that represents. The holy waters of Jesus. Like when they were pierced by the spear of Longinus. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. There we go. Anyway, so that happens. And that finishes off Richie. There he collapses. She takes the tray just in time and sets it down so there isn't a big clatter. So she locks the doors and they're heading out. All right, Charlie starts turning. He grabs hold of Peter and he's going to bite him. He starts turning. But Alex puts the holy robe around him. Maybe they should have got a holy hand grenade. But puts the holy robe around him and that settles him down. But Peter gets out. They're going to go out the way they came. And Peter's out there. Just to say, he didn't want to be dangling about. He's quite, happy to go just climb out on the ledge. I'd be terrified. I'm rubbish with heights. I can't even stand on a chair to change a light bulb without panicking. But anyway. But, as you see there, Louis up there. So Peter falls, but kind of badly composited there again. He has a swing at him, but Peter's is fine. Look, he's dangling. He's obviously got strong fingers. I'd have fallen to my death, but never mind. So Louis is there we go. He's doing this little piggy went to market, and this little piggy went, wherever. But he uses the harpoon gun thing and fires it at. There we go. Fires it at Louis. Gets him through the heart. It's on the. Sorry. I've got to go back and say, on the bloody sucker, look. It's like it's a kid's toy, isn't it? Look, he just fired it at the glass and it just stuck to it. I'm disappointed. He's got him through the heart. Honest, he has. It isn't on the sucker that he just fired at the window. Unbelievable. Look at that. You didn't see that. You didn't see that bit of movie magic. So he's going through the heart and he falls. And there we go. We see him falling then. This is actually Gene Warren, this, in a werewolf suit. Yes, suction cup thing, yes. Falling onto a blue screen airbag from 40 feet. But it's a fall into this whatchamacallit? Oh, sorry. Into this fountain. There he goes. There we go. And that's the end of Louis, because got him in the heart, and he says, "Bullseye, dude." I did do it. He says, "Bullseye, dude," and then presumably expires. We don't see him again, so presumably he's done for. By the way, Louis was the replacement for Evil Ed. Ed was supposed to be in this, in the original draft. Because remember, we saw them eyes at the end of the first one, and then Ed's laugh, didn't we? And the "You're so cool, Brewster." We presumed that were Evil Ed because Peter Vincent pulled the stake out of his heart, didn't he? In the first film. Oh, excuse me. But Stephen Jeffries had signed up to do 976 Evil, and so didn't sign on to do this film. And Amanda Burse didn't do this, A, because she didn't like the script, apparently, and B, she'd signed up to do the Married with Children TV show. Is that what it's called? Yeah, it is. So that's why they're not in it. And Louis were created to be the Evil Ed of this film. So maybe he's still alive. I don't know. But anyway, I've gone too far. Go back again. That says Bullseye. There we go, Bullseye, dude. Anyway, they pull Peter back up. Oh, for God's sake. Why is it skipping so far? I didn't skip that far before. Go on, get past it. Actually, has he pulled it out there? So I think he's still alive. I think he's pulled an Evil Ed because he had it in his hand, didn't he? The stake thing. So he should be all right. I think he's still around somewhere. I do. With Evil Ed. I think Evil Ed's still knocking about. Didn't show it, but for some reason they had a big bit of wood that Alex were able to bar the door with. It was just there, as it always is. So when they did, board up the windows, isn't it? There's always like just enough wood to board up windows in like siege films and stuff, isn't there? I'd have no chance. If something happened here, I wouldn't have enough wood to board up the windows. Anyway. Right, so somebody's trying to get in, obviously Regine or Belle. They run off. Belle arrives in a minute. All right, fires Belle were there. There we go, lighting candles, and he fires the thingamabob, the suction cup gun at Belle, and he said, shoots the flame off the candle, but Belle's disappeared. Did we see the string that were on then? Yes, we did. Sorry, the string that. Sorry, I'm spoiling all the movie magic. But Belle comes from the other side in a minute. Oh, there we go. And grabs hold of Alex, holds at Talon Point. There's Bosworth lurking. He knocks out Peter Vincent in a minute. But Regine's arriving. There we go. She does the welcome to Fright Night line. But she doesn't say for real, but she lights the candles by the power of her mind. And die a thirsty Charlie. So they're going to offer Alex to Charlie. And Peter's saying, no, don't do it. Then he gets knocked out by Bosworth. There he is. So Charlie's got to bite Alex to become a vampire, just like them. But he's fighting it. They see the pull her hair back and everything. And he drops the holy shroud, whatever it is. And we think he's going to bite her. Obviously, we know he's not going to. I remember those old suction arrows. They bounced most of the... Yeah, they were rubbish, weren't they? They were rubbish. Anyway, we think he's gonna bite... Oh no, it's all right. I thought bloody Belle had a thumb ring on then, but no, he hadn't. But then she says, Charlie, I love you. Remember earlier on, she says, Charlie, I really, really like you. This is a bit like American Werewolf in London, isn't it? We're all through the film. Alex, she was called Alex in that film as well, wasn't she? The Jenny Agutter character. Wouldn't say to David that she loved him, but then at the very end, she says, David, I love you. And it kind of distracts him enough for the police marksman to, I presume, aim at him. And he decides to sacrifice himself, doesn't he? Lunges at her and allows the police to shoot him. But similar to that, now she's saying, Charlie, I love you. And that brings him out of his vampireness. And he grabs hold of Belle's hands. Here we go. Oh, look, he's got teeth and stuff. Don't like it's not a very convincing vampire, is it, to be honest? But he grabs hold of Belle's hands. There we go, and shoves them into Bosworth's gut. And there he goes. And not a great prosthetic, but it's fine. Better than I could do. But I'm not getting the big bucks, am I? So there we go. So Bosworth turns into a pretty goofy Duke Nukem puppet, and so all it's another Tommy Lee Wallace, Tommy Lee Wallace thing. All bugs coming out of him. There we go. All bugs coming out. And he's kind of deflating, look, as all these bugs come out. But he did a similar thing in Halloween 3, didn't he? With the mask. The Silver Shamrock masks did that. When they were activated, they turned that kid's head into bugs and snakes and stuff, didn't they? Which were cool. So that's the end of Bosworth. Right, what's happening next? Right, so the run for it. Oh, aye, and Belle's going to come and get him on his roller skates. Look, he likes his roller skates. Comes charging at him, but they catch him in the holy robe of Antioch or whatever it is. I don't know. But that's enough. I mean, it didn't do this to Charlie, did it? But it's enough to basically kill. There we go. Kill Belle. Oh, for God's sake. There we go. And he starts melting for some reason. There we go. Just turns to light and starts melting. In a cool effect, I must admit, it's a cool effect. They explained how they did it. Normally they do it in what they call it. What they call it now? Not stop motion. A time lapse thing. But they did it in a slightly different way to make it look more fluid than just taking like one frame every like 10 seconds or whatever. They did it or over like one frame every 5 minutes. They did it. They kept the shutter open for each take, so it looks more fluid anyway. There we go. As the whatever it was made of wax as that melted. So anyway, so that's the end of Belle. Why didn't it make Charlie melt? Maybe because he's not a proper vampire yet. Probably. Why the roses didn't work on him either, I suppose. So Regine's not happy. Here she is, look, being not happy. Turning into whatever she turned. There you go, a bat. She goes through the door. Door didn't look very sturdy, did it? But anyway, she wants to get back to her coffin because, as you see, Peter noticed earlier on that the sun was starting to come up. He saw this, not that, but a similar thing. In the other room, light coming through the window. So it's close to dawn because time flies when you're having fun, apparently, in Fright Night. But she's got into the elevator and she's going down and the elevator stops and we hear like this noise. She's clawing her way through the bottom of the elevator to get to her coffin. There we go. Look, and that's what he's telling them that her coffin's down there at the bottom of the elevator shaft, and they've got to stop her before she gets to it for some reason. There you go. So Charlie and Alex, they decide to go and hold her off at the pass, sort of things, or like not ambush. Get there before her. That's what they're trying to do. And Peter's going to stay up here and do his thing, do what he has to do. So right, off they go down the stairs. Peter's looking down at the elevator. He's going to climb down. There he goes. Starts climbing down. They get down there. They open up the coffin. They put the wafers. They got communion wafers from the church. Although in the subtitles it said it didn't say wafers. It said something else, and I can't remember what it said now. I thought, why did they put that word? And I forgot what word it was. But it wasn't wafers. Hang on, I'll check. Hang on, just bear with me. Just bear with. I can't, 'cause it'll pop up on this screen. Never mind, don't matter. It wasn't wafers. Where were we? So they do that, so she can't get back in. There we go. They put them in the shape of a cross. Well, she can get back in, but it won't be good for her. She's still trying to get out of the bottom of the elevator. Peter, he arrives. He's got his cross with him. He opens up the hatch, but he's got to put his cross down to open the hatch because it takes two hands. And there we go. She comes through and smashes through. It's all red light for some reason coming from below. Don't know why, just is. But here she is trying to get through. And what does he do? I can't remember. Does he get her with a crucifix? I think he might do. Hang on, I've forgotten. I've only watched this like an hour ago. But she smashed the top of the elevator anyway. And here she comes with her big long fingers. What does he do? Oh, well, they go, back, you damned hell spawn, back. Because you've got to talk to them like that, vampires. They don't like that, do they? And that does the trick. Down she goes. And she turns into a bat, a bat thing. And down she goes. And there we go, into a stop motion creature. But this she can't get in the coffin. Oh, no, she can't get in the coffin because there's all that stuff there. So she flies off and goes into the shadows somewhere. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to play that. Better make sure I'm not getting a copyright strike now, aren't I? Oh, dear. Make sure we're still going while I'm at it. Oh, hang on. Big data. Sorry, this is on Rumble. It says MMIW burned those Canadian churches. Not complaining. It's Rumble, innit? Everything's political on Rumble. So people on the Rumble chat just say political stuff for some reason, and I don't know why. They just do. That's Rumble. Anyway, right. So she, Alex, holds the cross out to Regine's bat form. And Regine knocks her over and slinks off into the shadows. Then Regine comes back out now. Come on, Charlie. And she's going to get Charlie now. But then Peter has an idea, but we think he's retreating. She looks up and she says, look, the vampire killer's running away. There you go, your friend's given up. But no, he's up to something. There you go, she offers a hand to Charlie. But he's gone to get a big piece of this mirror, the mirror that's broken there. He's gone to get that. And he uses it to reflect the sun down, look. And it gets her hand and he drags, Charlie grabs it and drags her into the sunlight. Does reflected light kill vampires as well? It must do. It must do. By the way, why did Regine show up on TV? She didn't show up in a mirror. Why did she show up in it? I know it's different. Maybe they use mirrorless cameras. I don't know. But anyway. Because we've seen other things where they don't show up on film and they don't show up on TV, and all that, haven't we? But in this, they do. Just not in mirrors. Anyway, pulls her into the light, and there we go. She's all burning and blistering. Look, he's holding the beam onto her. It's a good job it don't get cloudy. Finally getting ready to put the bread in the oven. Didn't manage to do it last night. Okay. I'm happy to hear that. I bet it smells lovely as well when it's done. I bet it does. I've got some like instant bread, a packet of like bread mix in the pantry, but I can't be bothered with it. It means clearing the table and kneading and all that, and I can't be bothered. Just buy a loaf of bread. Anyway, so she's all burning, look, and melting in a puppet head, which is kind of cool. And then she sets on fire. This is interesting how they did this. And it shows her all burning away. Hang on. And actually, they did like a full body prosthetic that this really thin actress called, I've forgotten, I think it's something like Dana Cancer or something like that. She's a singer in a punk band. She's really thin. And they covered her in this prosthetic vampire suit that looked amazing. But then, the script called for it to be set on fire, and it, they obviously didn't want to set her actually on fire. So what they did, she walked out this scene. In this scene, she walks, like I say, she walks past them like that in this vampire outfit. It's all like red and looks gory and stuff. It looks ace. But it's supposed to be on fire, but she walked past like normally. And what they did, they actually tracked her movements. They used a puppet and set a puppet on fire and used that and overlaid it, to correspond with her movements with this puppet over the top. That's how they've done that, which is why it kind of looks not quite right. So, but it's a shame because it just covers up the amazing. Like I say, you can just make it out a bit. The amazing suit that they made. But anyway, for some reason she gets in a coffin, even though there's all those communion wafers in there, and maybe it must be because of those that she explodes. There's a big explosion. I'm presuming that's because of the communion wafers. Yes, Regine is crisp. She is crisp and dry, even, you might say. I used bread mix first time, a baked bread. Not the same as finding your best recipe and experimenting. Yeah, okay. Did they get the reflection idea from Legend? I don't know. Is that what happened? I've seen Legend once, and I'm not a big fan, to be completely honest. So I can't remember what happens in that. So she explodes, basically, but she's not quite dead. But all the flames go up the lift shaft, Die Hard style. But then her hand comes out, all there we go, all crispy, like my cooking, basically. I thought she was going to do that, but she doesn't. The hand just breaks off, and there we go, and that's the end of Regine. Peter's like, "Have we won?" So that's the end. The sun comes up. Then we cut to an indefinite period of time later. Brian Thompson was a werewolf in the Werewolf TV series. I didn't know that. I've not seen it, so I don't know. I say he's been in a lot of stuff. Played the alien bounty hunter in X-Files, didn't he, and stuff like that. I always liked how Evil Ed returned in the comics. Oh, right. Oh, Windgrace, find your comics and see if there's Evil Ed's in it. I say I always imagine Evil Ed and Louis, they're still running around in my Fright Night universe canon, head canon. They're still knocking about. Anyway, some indeterminate amount of time later, they're in the sun. See, he's obviously better. He's in the sun. He's got a crucifix round his neck. And then we see he's there with Alex. She's got a big crucifix as well. Isn't going to show it. She does have one, honest. I'm not lying. There it is. Look, there we go. She's got a crucifix as well. So they've obviously all gone religious. Or they're just warding off vampires. But you've got to have faith, haven't you? Did you see that Teen Wolf series? No, I didn't. I'm not a big fan of Teen Wolf. I've seen the first film, with Michael J. Fox, but whatever. Whatever. So they're wondering what they're going to do now. They can't tell anybody about it, blah, blah, blah. And that's basically the end of it. We'll go on with our lives, duly fortified. I don't know, does it? I can't remember if it tells us what's happened to Peter Vincent. I'm sure he's fine somewhere. But they're going to have a canoodle, and then pull back. There we go, pull back, and that's the end of the film. That's the end of the film. It's a cool sequel. I'm glad Tom Holland got the rights back to Fright Night. Has he got them back? I didn't know what had happened. I didn't know what were going on with the rights. But they want to sort out the rights for the bloody home distribution for this film. Because it's really, it's not easy to get hold of. It is, but not easy. They should do a proper release. English language release with special features on and everything, like they've done with the first film. That's what they should do for this. Anyway, so that's the end of the film. It's really, really good. I think it's a good sequel. I said Tommy Lee Wallace is a good director, and he hasn't done a huge amount of stuff, but what he has done, has been decent. But anyway, so there we go. That's the end of Fright Night Part 2. It would go on to be remade. They would remake Fright Night with David Tennant and Anton Yelchin and the Irish fella. What's his face? I always blank on his name. Him as the vampire. I think Chris Sarandon had a cameo in that and got killed, didn't he? I think. And then that got a sequel, which were crap. But anyway. They should do a double feature pack. Yes, they should do. Anyway, I'll get rid of that. Right. So that's the end of Fright Night Part 2. It's well worth it. Seek it out. It says, Castella says, I have the DVD of this film, which I got from a closing video store. Cool. I said, I've got the Blu-ray. Yeah. Noche de Miedo, parte dos. But it is in English, it's in Spanish and English, which is fine. There's no special features on apart from the trailer, which is not cool, but never mind. But at least I can watch it. What's next, Steve? Asks Sci-Fi Quest. I have no idea. I haven't decided. But next, for me, Sunday's my live news stream. And then on Monday, I haven't got it. I haven't got a physical copy of it. Monday for Magnificent Mondays is Sci-Fi Quest's favourite film. It's Krull. He loves that film. That's what we're doing next on Magnificent Monday. So tune in on Monday at 9 p.m. GMT for that. Do House. I might do one day. The first one, I really like that first one. But would I do it as Friday Night Appointment with Fear or Magnificent Mondays? Because it's not that scary, is it? I don't know. I don't know what I'd do it as. So I think of another film, I can't remember what it was now, to do, and I couldn't make up my mind whether it'd be a Friday Night Appointment with Fear or a Magnificent Mondays. But anyway. Mr. Frost with Jeff Goldblum's a good horror film. I've not heard of that one. I'll look that one up. I'll look it up. In fact, I'll do it now because I'll forget. If I don't look it up now, I'll forget. Mr. Frost movie. There we go. 1990 film. Yes, with Jeff Goldblum and Alan Bates and Kathy Baker and other people. Right. Serial killer gets sent to a mental institution. Oh, okay, I'll look that up. I'll see if I can find that. Right, we'll leave it there. So thank you for that. So thank you, Sci-Fi Quest. Hang on. Is Nixon in that movie? Is it Anthony Hopkins as Nixon? It's Anthony Hopkins. I can't remember. Frost Nixon. Yes. See, I got that reference. Hang on. Where's my thing? Where is it? Where are you? There we go.
I understood that reference.
The Resurrected with Chris Sarandon is great. See, another one I've got to look for. Child's Play with Chris Sarandon's great as well. Great stream as usual. Great stream as usual, pal. Yes, we're going to leave it there because I'm hungry and I want something to eat now. So we'll leave it there. So thank you, Wingrace. Thanks, Sci-Fi Quest. Thanks, Castellar. And Josh Temple popped in earlier. He's at the dentist. I hope he's going to be okay. I'm sure he will be. But he missed out on the harpoon gun. I thought it was more like a spear gun, wasn't it? But, semantics. But hopefully he's okay at the dentist. So, right. We will leave it there. So, hang on. What's happening? See you on the next one. Till then, take care, everyone. Stay safe. See you later. That's what Sci-Fi Quest says. But I say, thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. Don't have nightmares. And until next time, I'll see thee. Where is it? There.